All right, morning everybody. First off, my name is Matt Bartle. I head up the commercial division at the Pitchmark Group, and my colleague Stephen Bailey is our technical manager at the Pitchmark Group. And I thought a little bit of added support up here today because some of the things that we're going to talk to you about, the new R&D sort of products that we've got, probably a little bit outside of my depth. So I wanted to make sure that we had the right person with us as well. So Steve's very kindly stepped in at the last minute as well to provide a little bit more context around some of the products we're going to talk about. Before we go too much further, I also wanted to just sort of say thank you very much to Florian and the whole TurfTech team, because I think the last 2 days have been absolutely superb, and I think obviously the effort that's gone into putting this event on, it's absolutely superb, and thank you very much for everything, and the hospitality, and also to the team at FC Genk as well for the venue, and obviously all the catering and everything as well. It's been absolutely superb. So yeah, again, thank you very much to everybody who's provided the facilities and put on this event, because it's been really good to attend. So we are the Pitchmark Group. I'm going to run through sort of a few little areas this morning, but I'm going to try and avoid sort of staring at this. I want to be a little bit more interactive around this sort of session, 10 or 15 minutes really, because I'm very mindful it's been a long couple of days. But who are we? What do we do? Well, we're a family-run business, and we still are a family-run SME. We've got 30 staff based out of the southwest of England in Bristol, operate across the UK. We operate globally as well in 30 countries across the world. So we have a good distribution network, and we're very proud of that because we were only founded in 2010. So from our point of view, the growth has been steady. The growth has been really quite positive in that 14 years. So we've gone from Mark, the chairman, who is sort of come on to a little bit more about Mark in a little while, and the family sort of launching the business through to where we are today. But there's been some key milestones along the way. So from our point of view, in 2011, we got our first overseas customers, and that was a big deal for us. It's as a company that specialise in primarily the manufacture of the line marking machines and the paint. To have our first international customers less than a year really after launching the business was something we're really proud of and positive from a company point of view. And then we started to supply in 2014. Things sort of started to kick on a little bit more and develop a little bit more. And we, in 2013, provide the machines and paint for the Confederations Cup. And then we returned in 2014 for the FIFA World Cup. So again, I go back to the kind of, I make no sort of apologies for it really, as a small family entity, and still a small family entity, to then go from an idea, a concept that Mark and the family had, through to delivering machines and paint at World Cups in such a short period of time is something we're hugely proud of. And then in 2017, and one of the reasons why we're standing up here today and talking to you, and one of the machines that was out on the pitch last night, the hybrid was born. So the hybrid line marking machine was born, and that was born out of collaboration. A lot of collaboration with professional ground staff across the industry, primarily a couple of key individuals within the UK sector at the time at the Premier League. And I won't go into names because I'm not sure whether that's appropriate or not, but in terms of how that machine was developed, and I go back to something that Ben mentioned in the camping presentation, it's around that feedback and working with our clients, working with our partners, that led to the creation of the hybrid. We were trying to solve a problem. We were being told at the time that, or some of the feedback that we were getting at the time, and some of the collaboration with customers and potential partners at the time was around, they wanted the feel and comfort of a transfer marker, but it was feeling a little bit sort of cumbersome, and they wanted to sort of move with the time. So Mark, being the person he was, sat down with them and came up with the hybrid machine, which has the feel of the transfer marker, but obviously is a spray marker. So we're looking at things that cover the leaf of the grass in a sort of via misting, rather than obviously putting down far too much paint. 2019, as an organisation, we received the Queen's Award for Enterprise and International Trade. And again, that's another step on our journey. And again, from a company point of view, really, really proud of that. As we started to add staff to the portfolio, as we started to be recognised for the work that we were doing, it was also nice to receive an award for the Queen at the time for international trade. Then we started to go to World Cup 22 in Qatar, and again, you can see how the journey's building. In 23, we relocated to, again, have more space, be able to add additional staff, but importantly, start to bring a little bit of the research and development in-house as well, and provide us with the additional space and resource to be able to do that. And then also enhanced our operational capacities. And in 24 this year, we've just won the King's Award for Innovation and International Trade again. And we had the presentation fairly recently at headquarters in Bristol, which was a fantastic afternoon to receive that. And again, it's a testament to the hard work of everybody across the business, including all of our partners, all of our clients, because without you guys, we can't continue to develop. But it was also really nice from a personal point of view to see everybody in the team there who has been part of that journey. So, the hybrid. This is obviously why we're standing here. This is one of our main kind of professional stadia and professional sport markers that we deal with. And it's not just about football. You know, from our point of view, our client base is across the piece, and we're working with the guys at All England Tennis Club, we're working with the guys at Twickenham. We've got one of these markers. So from a rugby point of view, yes, football is our key industry, of course it is, and we're proud to supply the likes of Arsenal, Watford, Spurs, all of those guys, you know, and thanks to everybody who trusts us to be part of that journey and your journey, because fundamentally we're the last part of the jigsaw. You know, that pitch presentation, everything else has been done. You know, the major works that Ben talked about, some of the consultancy works that Dean talked about, they've all been done. The final part of the jigsaw is putting the lines down, that pitch presentation. So, but it's probably one of the hardest parts as well to get right. So we highlighted the issue as we talked about earlier on with the transfer. So that was born out of collaboration, and the hybrid was born. So why was it developed? I've covered a couple of those points already, so I'm not going to read it verbatim on there. But what we wanted to try and make sure that we kept was the balance and weight of the machine moving forward, and that's what I think we've achieved through the hybrid. And customers tell us that's what we've achieved through the hybrid, so we take that as a positive. If people start to tell us it doesn't feel right, it doesn't look right, it's not operating properly, then again, as Ben alluded to earlier on in the campus presentation, you know, come and talk to us. That's what we're here for. That's what the team are here for. We have a team of technical experts that Steve heads up, and then we've got at the moment we've got currently 2 regional technical managers under Steve, as well as the distributors across the world that can feed that knowledge and support back in. So if we know there's a problem, we can help solve it. So that was the solution. Again, I'm not going to read it verbatim, but really some of the key aspects from our point of view are around the paint flow and making sure that actually you were putting less paint down with the hybrid but getting a better result than what you were with the transfer marker previously. So Baz helped me out in terms of the old transfer. What was the literage?
So with an old wheel-to-wheel marker, you'd expect to use probably 6.5 litres of paint, but obviously you're only painting one side of the leaf because it's contact and it's pushing the leaf down. So when you're stood at the opposite end, you're looking back down the line, it's not quite so good, so you would invariably go back and double mark it the other way. Again, it's contact. What you're doing is you're flooding the area, you're flooding the leaf. There's only so much paint that can go on the leaf, whereas with a misting nozzle, and there's no contact with the leaf, so the grass stays stood up. So you're also atomizing the paint, so it's much smaller pattern goes across. You get better leaf coverage with less paint. If you look at the guys from Campy, when you talk about corro on a pitch, when you corro off a pitch, what can you still see? You can still see the lines that are there. And those lines are there because that's paint that's not hit the leaf and that's gone down. So it just goes to show us how much you're flooding that area with. That is also killing the root system. And then going from a flat fan nozzle, which some people will be using, that's still, although you are not making contact, you're hitting the leaf again, you're firing it down, you're blasting out those root zones. So you'll find you'll start losing coverage there as well.
Thanks, Didn't realise that actually moved. Should have pressed that button sooner.
Yeah, well, that's just going to also show one of the advantages of the hybrid. You always had traditional spray markers that had 4 wheels. On football especially, you've got the quadrants and the circles, so you're sort of scuffing, trying to get yourself around the corners. With an old wheel-to-wheel, it was 3 points of contact, so that was ideal. So the hybrid was a hybrid between those 2 designs. So it's just a good opportunity showing that.
Yeah, and I think again it goes back to that sort of smooth handling, solving a problem for a client, and that's how it was born out. Trying to solve an issue that we didn't necessarily see was an issue at the time, because obviously for whatever reason, but Mark did. And then through the relationship that we had with the ground staff across the piece at different clubs, we solved that problem. Oh, sorry. So some of the key features that also come onto areas which you can see on here allow bespoke branding, which has also gone down well with certain clientele across the world. We have a highly engineered large front disc, so it serves as that front wheel as opposed to being a front wheel. We have the puncture-proof rear wheels, so it gives that it reduces the ground impact, and obviously we don't have the issue when it comes to having to replace any kind of wheel if it goes flat or solve a problem there. We have the adjustable line, so for various competitions and goal sizes, that's something again which was just solving a problem. I'll go back to that and make no bones that, or apologies for using that as a bit of a key phrase, because that's what we needed to do. And then in terms of obviously battery life, it's 12 volt, and it's about 18 football pitches per charge, is what we're seeing at the moment, is the statistics that are coming back and the data that's coming back to us. Obviously it includes a 25 litre paint tank on that as well. And they're all made and branded in the UK, primarily from our Bristol HQ. A little video, if it works. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if there's any sound to it.
Yeah, so there's no sound. I could just go da 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 da. But yeah, you can see it's a really stable platform. The wide wheels, it helps with the nap. You'll see it's cutting off before it gets to the good bit, but you're able to, if you're crossing a wet line, you're able to leave the disc down, lift over, so you're not going to get tracking the white across without having to do a weird thing with a four-wheeler wheel. There you go, lifting the top for your tight quadrants, as we mentioned earlier. Easier to turn on a circle. Yeah, we really should have put music on this. Apologies, I didn't expect to be up here, so we're not quite thrown under the bus, sort of rolled gently.
Rolled under the bus.
Yeah, so we'll take that.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's fine, we can let it run. So one of the key aspects that we wanted to talk to you about today, because I think a lot of people in the room probably have either heard of or come across the hybrid. So one of the key aspects we want to talk today about some of the R&D that we're doing as a company, and two major things that we launched at Soltex 2 weeks ago was about our sustainable packaging moving forward for our paints. A huge issue there at the moment, obviously 10 litre drums in plastic tubs. What we want to try and do is, certainly as a company, as an industry, I think we need to be moving away from that. So our sustainable packaging bag in a box has now been launched, and we were proud to do that at Soltex. The interest has obviously been quite significant because it's there's another box to tick at the moment if you're running a facility, and that sustainable question is really coming in, and how can we look to again solve a problem or help organisations and customers solve a problem. And that's one of the solutions that we have. And linked to that is also the stainless steel nozzles, because at the moment, obviously, we've got little plastic nozzles, and again, we want to try and move away from that, so we're not looking at disposing of X amount of plastic. What we're looking at is now a more sustainable, robust steel nozzle. And I'm going to hand over to Steve again, because Steve's led the R&D with Mark, our chair, and a select number of our customers around both of these products. So I think he's going to be able to fill in some of the blanks a little bit more.
Yeah, so with the bag-in box, it's helping to be an ecologically sound, sort of both front and back end. So if you think about the drums that the paint come in, even before we've put paint in to them, we have to buy them in. So you will be having a lorry with 24 pallets of essentially fresh air being carted around the country, and then we've got to store it at the factory when they're empty before we've even put paint in them. And then at the end of use, what do you do with those things? And inevitably sometimes they do go to landfill, or we've got to try and recycle them. With the bag in the box, the same amount of containers can be put on 2 pallets flat pack instead of 24 pallets. So at the front end, that's a massive saving for us. The cardboard box is completely recyclable, 100%, and then the plastic bag that's within, that's only 10% of the plastic, so you're reducing waste by 90%, which is a huge thing. Then moving on to the stainless steel nozzles, yes, you have the plastic issue, which is key, but also the more important one for me is the plastic ones that you have, you cannot clean out, so they have a certain lifespan. You're not able to take them apart. The stainless steel ones are. You're able to unscrew them, clean them out inside and reuse them. I wouldn't be as brave to say is they're a lifetime nozzle, but they would last you much longer than a plastic one would. And again, because it's stainless steel, fully recyclable. What we're also noting with them is the way that the paint flows through them. The edges are sharper. It atomizes the paint more, so we're getting a much more finer pattern of paint come through. So even with the same amount of paint, because of the way it's covering it, it's increasing the opacity, so you're getting whiter lines. And then finally, we've got edge paint, not available in Europe at the moment, but in the UK it's been launched. Again, groundsmen, relatively traditional, don't like changing nozzles, don't like changing machines. Well, maybe provide a paint that will work in any machine rather than just, I would prefer that they use ours, but if we can get them away from using concentrate to ready to use, they will use less, so the volume will go down. So it's sort of one step closer to bringing the industry forward.
Yeah. Very fortunate as an organisation that we work with some very high-profile organisations across numerous sports. We do have an arrangement with Leicester City, and as part of that arrangement, obviously, we supply paint machines, various other products and solutions, and add value, importantly, to what they're doing at the training ground, stadium, and the women's training ground. And that added value from our point of view is anything from product support and training. So again, it might be Steve and the team from a technical point going in, servicing machines, solving problems, diagnosing problems, working with the team to make sure there is a solution to a problem. Or it might be they're actually running CPD events. And that's something we're looking at evolving as an organisation, how we can sort of embed the training that we do currently and roll out that so it's a formalised sort of CPD. And you know, we're coming in 22. The deal was agreed in 22. We're coming to the end of the initial agreement, and conversations are now ongoing as to what that will look like moving forward. And those kind of arrangements are conversations we're also having with other clubs across the country, because I think what we're looking at the moment is how, and again, I go back to the term added value. How, as an organisation, can we solve problems? Well, if we're solving problems, we're adding value to a customer and a client and a partner. And that's really key, because there aren't many organisations that put that at the top of their agenda. But because the organisation we are, being still family owned, a small entity, we have a hugely talented pool of individuals and employees across the organisation. We want every employee to be part of something like this. It's not just about Dave, me, whoever, going out and having those conversations. It's about everybody across the organisation feeling like they're part of delivering something like this. And that's really important to us. So again, just sort of covering off, I suppose, what we said earlier on is around that customer service and that red carpet service that we try to offer. Excuse the images at the bottom for some reason. Our heads have just sort of gone over the writing at the bottom. But what we always do with every customer and client, we will put a project team around them. And that will include somebody from, whether it's sales and commercial, whether it is technical, there'll be an in-house point from operations. So as a customer, you know, if you've got a problem, whatever that problem is, you know who you can contact. And that, again, it goes back to being really important for us, because not everybody can be an expert in everything, right? But we can have an expert for that thing in the organisation, which is what we've got. Oh, sorry, I should have actually mentioned there, so forgive me. The second point there, we're not just about the manufacture of line marking machines and paint in-house. Our UK distribution arm for Pitchmark products is TurfTech. And TurfTech obviously has strategic alliances and relationships with a number of organisations, so the likes of Harrow Sport, Tildernet, Duralock and others. And what we try and do is work with those respective organisations so we can actually come with again, using one of Ben's phrases, a turnkey solution. That might have been Dean's phrase. Turnkey solution for a customer. So anything to get the game on, whatever that game is. So whether it is sports equipment, yes, we specialise in the final product, if you like, the line markers, machines and paint. But we have the ability to provide anything across the piece from a B2C point of view. I'm not going to take up any more of your time because I think, it's been a long couple of days. And I'd just like to thank you for your time. If there's any questions, either Steve or I can answer, because there might be some around the novels or the bag in a box. I'm more happy to take them now or grab us when we're just sort of floating around. But no, also thank you to everybody in the room, because I know it's taken some effort to get here. Really appreciate, obviously, you sitting and listening to us as well. So thank you very much. If there's any questions, we're happy to take them. If not, thank you very much.